What to do with your life after college. For basically 17 years, I would always associate this time of year with going back to school. From the time I was 5 years old, September always meant new classes, new teachers, new schedules, new classmates, the start of a new school year. But that first September after I graduated college was a completely different vibe. It felt weird seeing some of my friends and family who were still in school, go back to school as normal in September while I just continued working the same job that I had started earlier that year. But I guess that was my life now. The predetermined path of school and the education system had come to an end. And with my whole life still ahead of me, I felt free, yet still trapped, excited, but lost, unsure of what was next for me, and overwhelmed by the endless possibilities for the future. It's been almost 3 years since I finished college and started life in the real world. So in this video, I'll discuss a few lessons that I've learned over the past few years that could help you figure out what to do in your life and ultimately live a happier and more fulfilling life post-school. The first lesson is to choose your path. Actively choose your path in life, otherwise you'll be funneled into whatever path society chooses for you.
Choose one.
I thought of this kind of analogy for the whole school life path thing, and up until the point that I graduated and finished school, life really felt like this sort of paved road traveling from one school year to the next school year, a road that millions of people before me had traveled on and was kind of just preset and predetermined. The destination had always been, finish school, get a degree, get a job, and along the way, I could see the signs on the side of the road previewing that destination, but I couldn't really see beyond just finishing school and getting a job. Now that I've finished school, gotten a job, I feel like I've come to the end of that sort of predetermined road that I've been traveling on since kindergarten, only to find that that road led to an ocean with endless possibilities, no clear, visible path to follow like there was with school. And as I get into my little rowboat and start traveling into the ocean, I feel that there's a subtle, slight current pulling me in a certain direction. I continue to row against the current, and I start to see in the distance all these different islands, each of them a potential reality for my future self. But the moment I take a break from rowing, I can feel the boat gradually start to float in the direction of the current, pulling me down an unknown path. I can either continue to row towards an island of my choosing or let the current slowly decide my fate. I don't know if that analogy made any sense to you, but for me, when it comes to these life lessons, mindset things, analogies always help them just kind of sink in better. Now, there's obviously no best path in life for everyone, but the key is that you consciously make the decision to follow a certain path in life and don't be completely passive and let society or anyone else choose that path for you. Think about where you are now, think about where you'd like to be, and then set out on a path that seems like it'll get you there safely and adjust course as needed. But what if I don't know what I want in life? I used to hate those questions where I was like, where do you want to be in 5 years from now? The truth is, I was scared of the question. I thought about it too broadly. I let it overwhelm me. It's okay to not know exactly what you want, and it's likely that your ideal life will continue to change as you travel down your path. But what helped me was really just breaking it down into the different areas of my life, thinking about what I was content with and what could be improved. You can just ask yourself some of these basic questions like, where do you live now? Where would you like to live? Maybe you live with your parents or in an apartment. Maybe you'd like a house. What city? What would the weather be like? How do you feel physically, mentally? Could it be better? How do you spend your time every day? Do you commute an hour each way to a job that you hate with people that annoy you? Are you trapped by your own business that you've built to escape the 9-to-5 life, but you've ended up just trapping yourself even more? How do you make a living? What do you do for fun? Are you single? Do you want a family? Would you like to spend more time with your kids than just on weekends or evenings after work? People might hate on this mindset of breaking down your life into different areas and thinking about how you can improve each one. People like to say things like, just live your life. You only get one life. Don't worry about all that stuff. Everything will work itself out. Everything happens for a reason. And to a certain extent, I think a lot of those sayings are just a cop-out excuse for being lazy and not taking control of your life, because it's harder to take action and row against the current than it is to just sit back and let the ocean choose your direction for you. Yes, you only have one life. Yes, your time is limited. So why not make that the best life you could possibly live? Lesson 2 is to do things for yourself. This might sound kind of selfish, but let me try to explain. College and school in general was focused on learning so that you could get a degree, so that you could hopefully be valuable in the eyes of some company that would give you a job. Yes, you are benefiting yourself because you're getting the job so that you can make money to use on yourself, but the work that you actually do is geared more towards directly benefiting the company or someone else rather than yourself. Now, providing value to others obviously isn't bad. It's like the key fundamental to business and making money in general is providing value, but I think it's also good to do things with the sole intention of helping yourself. yourself. So for example, taking care of your health, making sure that you have good nutrition, good exercise habits so that you just feel better as a human being. And then continuing with your own self-education, not for the purpose of getting a degree or being more valuable to someone else or another company, but instead so you can learn about something that will primarily benefit your own life and your own happiness. Education doesn't end when you graduate, that's when it truly starts. Based on my experience, the education system today is just so centered around learning for the sake of passing an exam or getting a degree, and it's no longer about learning for curiosity or because you genuinely want to be more knowledgeable about a certain subject. Once I finished school, I felt like I had more of the mental space to explore things that I genuinely wanted to learn more about. And once you flip that switch away from learning just for an external purpose, for the degree, for the exam, for the job, and more towards an internal purpose of just learning for yourself and for your own benefit and enjoyment, then learning, reading, researching things just all becomes a lot more fun and enjoyable. So educate yourself with practical skills that will help you live a better everyday life. So things like health, nutrition, personal finance, human relations, family, but also just take the time to learn about things that genuinely interest you. It doesn't always have to be something super practical for your everyday life. Just because you didn't major in something in college doesn't mean you can't start exploring something completely new for your own enjoyment. Again, of course, it's important to help others and provide value to other people in the world, but if you ignore yourself, then your ability to provide value to others may start to crumble. It's kind of like when they do the safety demonstration on the airplane and they tell you to secure your own oxygen mask before helping others around you. If your health sucks, you're depressed, you're broke, you hate life, then you're not going to be able to perform very well in your job. You're going to have difficulty with relationships, friendships, and everything else in life. Lesson 3 is to beware of no man's land. No man's land is basically where your life could definitely be better, but it's not bad enough to the point where you feel motivated to do anything about it. For example, with health, it might not be until someone has major health problems that they actually start taking their health seriously. But at that point, it could be too late to reverse the damage. If you work a regular 9-to-5 job like me, it can feel very easy to fall into this no man's land area. If you were paid a little less, if things were a little more unpleasant, you might be motivated to find another occupation, but the pay is just enough and you get those 2 weeks of vacation a year, so you don't feel the need to change anything.
I get 10 vacation days a year.
I really realized the danger of getting stuck in this sort of no man's land comfort zone right after I got my job after graduating college. The pay was solid, the people seemed nice, and then I learned that my boss and some of my coworkers had literally been at the company since they were my age. Just like me, it was their first job after college, and they have been there ever since, more or less doing the same thing. Now, of course, no disrespect to them, there's no best path in life, as I said. You need to just actively choose your own path in life, and they may have decided that that was the best path for them. But once you fall into that no man's land of comfort, but not complete fulfillment, it really becomes hard to conjure up the motivation to break beyond that. 2 days off work on the weekends is just enough of an escape to keep most people from taking action. But I know for myself that if I were to keep working here, stop rowing my boat and just let the current take me wherever it chooses, then I would be doing my future self a disservice. So use the weekends and any extra time to build the life that you want, not escape the life that you have. The next lesson is to find your people. This is definitely one of the trickier challenges after college because you're coming from this environment where there's infinite social opportunities. You're constantly surrounded by thousands of new people every day and basically forced to meet new people. And then once you graduate, you almost instantly lose a lot of this, and it's now easier than ever to feel alone. Maybe you live with family or a couple roommates, but it can feel difficult to explore anywhere beyond that. But since COVID happened during the last year of college for me, it was even more abrupt of a halt in social interactions, but everyone was kind of in the same boat, which made it somewhat easier. I kept this lesson till the end because in my mind, finding your people is kind of dependent on the first 2 lessons. In my experience, and from what I've observed from those around me, to have truly strong and lifelong friendships and a sense of community, there needs to be some sort of common ground in terms of your life path. In college, I think some friendships are simply made because of close proximity to one another and just everyone's internal desire or even desperation to be a part of a group. But also while in college, everyone sort of does have this common ground with their life path because everyone there is attending a university. They're all trying to get a degree. Maybe some people are studying the same things as you, in the same classes, attending the same clubs or extracurricular activities. But once college is over, that close physical proximity and commonality in terms of life path starts to disappear. You're no longer roommates, you're no longer in the same class, you're no longer all working towards a degree together. Everyone's life paths sort of start to scatter and disperse into different directions. And at this point, there's really 2 main options in my mind. And this isn't like a one or the other option, it's more just 2 different approaches that you can take depending on the people around you in life. So option 1 is to continue to fortify and strengthen that relationship with your current friends or community. Think about the path that you're headed down in life and look at the path that it seems like your friends might be headed down as well. And then figure out where your paths intersect. It obviously isn't going to align align perfectly. It could just be one aspect of your lives. Family, fitness, work, hobbies, doesn't really matter. As long as you have something, you can continue to grow together.
Perhaps our paths will cross again.
Option 2 is to find new people, but to do this, you need to stay true to yourself and continue to follow your path. Find people along your road and don't get caught up too much looking on other paths. It's like if you were a football player looking for someone to kick the ball with, you're not going to spend most of your time hanging around the basketball courts, hoping that someone there also plays football and will kick the ball with you. It just doesn't really make sense. Maybe you'll connect with some of them because you're both athletes and you get along that way, but you're still going to feel unsatisfied and like you don't have that sense of true community. So stay focused on your own path as best you can, and you will find your people along the way. Hopefully you found some of these lessons helpful. Obviously, I'm still young and have a lot to learn. I'm still rowing my boat towards my ideal life, but these are just a few things that I wish I would have figured out earlier when I first graduated college. As always, do something today that your future self would thank you for.